Hello. Okay. Good afternoon, evening. Thank you all so much for joining the meeting. It is now 7:02, and we will call the meeting to order, and we will move through our agenda. So I say welcome again. This is our May meeting. We have one more meeting before we break for the summer. Um, and today we'll discuss election. Um, Tonight there was a list of people in the May newsletter that have decided to run for office again. Tonight we can have additional nominations from the floor, but we're going to go back to the agenda. We'll have a lot of information towards the end of the meeting about the election. So again, welcome. Angie, can you go do the housekeeping rules, please?
Sure. So good evening, everyone. Just want to quickly run through this. We've run through this several times, but again, just to give you some of the highlights. During the question periods, please raise your hand, and when appropriate, you will be provided the opportunity to ask your question. Attendees may also type their questions and comments into the comments section for those of you who are joining online. And if you're not joining online, you could do *9 to raise your hand, and we will bring you into the conversation if you're joining us via phone. We ask that you keep your comments brief, focused, and eliminate all background noise. You'll have 30 seconds to ask a question. Limit your response to one question if you could. Additional questions should be placed in the chat. That's just for timeliness purposes. And additional questions will be responded to if time allows. There should be no shouting or inappropriate language, which I know that we won't have an issue here this evening, just so that we are all respectful of others. And we just ask that you follow all of the above. We would hate to have to remove anyone from the chat, but if we have to, just to maintain the sanctity of this meeting, we will do so. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Angie. I'm going to ask the executive board members, I think you all have been promoted, to please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Please mute yourself. Next, we're going to have the invocation. I am happy to announce that Reverend Paul is back. As you all know, he was in Africa for 2 months. So we just want to say welcome back, Reverend Paul. Is Reverend Paul on the call?
I do not see him, but I am looking to bring everyone online right now.
Okay. So as I mentioned at the last meeting, that the new webinar format that we use, it takes a little time to bring people up to be able to speak. So please bear with us.
Just FYI, Reverend Paul is in the chat. FYI.
Say it again. Oh, he says he's here, Angie.
Oh, I just saw him. Thank you. And he's joining us right now.
And also, if you could promote Sophia Tacola from the mayor's office. She actually has another event, but wants to give a quick update. I don't think Jim is on because he was at the hospital earlier. That is Jim Lewis from Councilmember Janice Lewis George's office. And if you could also promote Carlos McKnight from Councilmember Oh, there's Sophia. From Councilmember Zachary Parker's office. Sophia, give us 1 minute. Was Reverend Paul promoted?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Welcome back, Reverend Paul. If you could do the invocation for us, that would be appreciated.
It looks like he may have dropped off. I'm going to invite him again. He was in the chat and he left us.
All right, he left the
He is
meeting?
back. He is back now.
Okay. Reverend Paul,
Can you hear me?
we can barely. Can you speak up just a little bit?
Yes, greetings, everyone. Certainly,
Yeah.
it's a pleasure to be back. We had a great journey in Africa, and certainly we're thinking and praying for each and every one of you. Let us go to our invocation. God, we thank you so much for how you have blessed us. We thank you for how you have kept us. But most of all, we just thank you for being present in our life. Now, we ask that you continue to bless this meeting in a mighty special way, that you keep us in mindful that all things are done in decency and order. So keep our hearts pure with a spirit of reasoning so that we can be able to carry on the progress of this community. Bless each and every one who is on this call and those who are away, particularly those who are in need of hardship or distress. We ask you to continue to be with us, and we shall be kept. Amen.
Okay, thank you so much, Reverend Paul. And as I said, welcome back. We're so glad to have you back. We are going to make some adjustments. As I said, a couple, Sophia Tacola, and actually, who else? Oh, there's Sophia. Let Sophia go ahead. The floor is yours, Sophia.
Hi, thank you everybody for having me here, and then also adjusting for my schedule. That means a lot, so I really appreciate that. First off, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Sophia Tacola, and I am the mayor's liaison here in Ward 4, and specifically in the Lamond-Riggs area as well. Every Tuesday and Friday, I am walking around in the community. I'll do open meetings. I'll put on Twitter like, hey, I'm at this coffee shop for the next few hours if anybody wants to meet. And so I've been doing that since I got into office. But I also wanted to make sure that we're being more intentional because not everybody's on Twitter. And so wanting to make sure that it is known throughout the community that on every Tuesday and Friday, usually Mokers are in our office for about 2 years, but I am always available to do in-person meetings. I take a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, texts, all that. But for the people who want to meet in person, whether they want to walk around their neighborhood and show me their actual concerns, or if they just want to get to know each other better or share some praises that are happening in their neighborhood, I am available. And so whatever the best way for you to contact me is your best way, and I will make sure I'm checking all of my ways for that. But I'll put all my information into the thread. And I see the time, so I'll make this really quick. But we have upcoming Wednesday, May 3rd at 9:30 a.m. We have the DC Business Expo. So we'll have a lot of businesses sharing a lot of information and resources for financial success. Mayor Bowser will be there in attendance. And so if you would like to come, I'll make sure I share that information there in our chat. In addition to that, before May 11th, please make sure to get your COVID tests, not necessarily to take them, but to have them in case you need them. Because after May 11th, laboratory tests for COVID ordered by providers will now be out of pocket. So stock up on them. Make sure that everybody knows that if you don't have health insurance, please get your free COVID tests now. In addition to that, we have the Mayor's Task Force on Automated Traffic Enforcement, also known as ATE. We have our Equity and Safety meeting. And so this will be May 2nd from 10 to 11 a.m. And I will make sure I put all that information into the chat. It is open to the public, but we have a lot of concerns about DDOT and traffic and all of these different things. And at the end of the day, not only do we want to make sure that we're being safe, but we want to make sure that we're being equitable. So definitely spread the word and all of that. Speaking about equitable, wanted to let everybody know that we have talked about the extended rec hours, but also Fort Stevens is open. And so even though that is not specifically in this area, that means in Ward 4, we have another space for you, which is very important. And just a big shout out for everybody who fought for that. But thank you for having me here today.
And thank you, Sophie. And I know that you have to go. So what I could do, I know you just sent me an email. If you want, I can take the questions and email them to you for a response.
Absolutely. And I'll be driving, but I will still be listening. I'm at John Wilson right now, but by the time I get back up to Ward 4, it'll be probably like 8. But I'm
And we
still
have elections today, so don't feel pressured. But if there isn't, someone put something in the chat, I will make sure I get it to you, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all for having
Thank
me.
you. All right, we have actually Carlos McKnight from Councilmember Zachary Parker's office, who also has another meeting to go to. So we want to let Carlos come on. Is Carlos on? I thought I saw him earlier.
Yes, I am here.
Okay.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you all for having me. Just to share with you all again, my name is Carlos McKnight. I am one of Councilmember Zachary Parker's constituent service coordinators for Ward 5. I am a resident of the Lamond-Riggs neighborhood. I've lived here for over 20 years. So again, as I say at every meeting, it's always great to be with my neighbors and enjoying you all tonight. Just to share a little bit of information from the council member's office. We have a little bit of things that I wanted to share with you, and then I will wrap it up with one event that will be happening a little bit later on. So as of right now, the council is going through markup. So that is the period where the council committees that review those specific parts of the budget proposed by the mayor and also within the council allot money proposed for the next fiscal year. In the current committee reports that were published, there are quite a few wins for Ward 5 that I will share on here. Many of us already know that we have secured funding for a park at Riggs Road and South Dakota Avenue, which has been something again fought for by this community for quite some time. So we're very excited to see that rolling out. More specifically, let's talk about traffic. There is going to be funding. Now, this is again just in the proposed budget, so this is not final, but this is something that we're seeing come out of the committee. There is funding of legislation that requires GDOT to establish a speed limit of 15 miles per hour in school zones between certain hours. In the proposed budget, there are also proposals for fully funding the Arboretum Bridge and Trail, which will proceed to construct over the next 2 years. There's also funding proposed funding of $1 million for a tactical road diet on South Dakota Avenue in the next fiscal year. There's also numerous amount of funding for many of our elementary schools and middle schools within Ward 5, such as Burroughs Elementary, Langdon, and Noyes that we're seeing. There's also $27 million to overhaul the New York Avenue corridor. And there's also $27 million to overhaul the Bladensburg Avenue corridor. So we're seeing numerous things that we've advocated for and that the community across the ward have advocated for being included in these budget markups. And so we are hoping that these projects and these improvements are funded and that we're pushing for them. And so we definitely would love your support in getting us to the finish line. We are also having a traffic safety walk on South Dakota Avenue. We are meeting with Director Lott on the corner of 26th and Irving in the Pocket Park right there on South Dakota Avenue. It's going to just be a walk with the director to talk about traffic safety on that road. I know there's been a lot of conversation about speeding and also the cars traveling up and down in traffic on South Dakota. So this is one of our walks that we wanted to have. That's going to be on May the 11th at 10 a.m. So we will be starting there around the corner of South Dakota and Rhode Island and working our way up to the old Taft school complex where the baseball field is. And then lastly, I will share that on the day before, on May 10th, all are welcome. We will be having an ice cream with the council member social. It will be an office hour in Trinidad. If you love ice cream and if you would like to meet the council member, it will be on Wednesday, May the 10th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Calypso Ice Cream and Coffee located at 1730 Trinidad Avenue Northeast. So please come out and meet the council member, have some delicious ice cream from a local Ward 5 business and also a DC business and chat policy and ice cream with us. So thank you all for having me here again, and I'll take any questions.
Perfect timing. Thank you so much, Carlos McKnight. Do we have any questions for Carlos before? Do you have a minute, Carlos, to take up if there are any questions?
Yes.
Or do you want me to do the same I'm doing for Sophia? I'll take the questions down.
I can stay for the questions.
Okay, any questions for Carlos McKnight?
It looks like we have a hand raised from Rodney Foxworth.
Is it okay to speak?
Rodney?
Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? Hey, Carlos, thank you guys for doing the safety walk regarding traffic, particularly at the intersection of South Dakota and Riggs Road. I spoke to you about this maybe about, what about a week ago at the Attorney General's meeting at the library. So as you know, we are concerned that if there's going to be a park there, which I'm not against and other people are not against as well, we just want to make sure that certainly Councilmember Parker, because it's in his ward, and DDOT take the appropriate time to make sure that seniors and little kids and anyone else can walk safely to and from that park, either going across South Dakota Avenue or Riggs Road going up toward Missouri. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate the follow through.
No problem. And I would like to clarify, it's not Riggs Road in South Dakota. They're meeting at Rhode Island Avenue in South Dakota. But on the note about Riggs Road and South Dakota Avenue, I mean, I understand and I feel you on that one, living off of South Dakota Avenue and having to travel up there. And so it's definitely top of mind for myself and the council member about traffic on that intersection. And you do raise a very good point, as I told you last week, about if we're going to have a park there has to be a conversation around traffic. So this is something, especially in our walk, that we're going to have along that stretch further down South Dakota. It's definitely going to bring more information into the broader conversation about safety along the entire stretch of the corridor.
Thank you much.
No problem, Mr. Foxworth.
Okay, do we have any other questions for Carlos?
It does not appear to be so.
Okay, thank you so much, Carlos, for coming on. I appreciate it, and I'll see you around the office.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
All right. So since we are on the elected officials, we are going to move on to ANCs. I'm just going to go down my list. Do we have Michael Cohen on the call?
I do not see him.
Okay, Allison Brooks.
Yes, let me bring her on. One moment.
Good evening. I am here. I am going to have to be off camera this evening, but thank you for having me. I wanted to take an opportunity to give an update on a lot of activities that happened the last couple of weeks of April, as well as upcoming events. So the week of April 15th through the 22nd, ANC 4B held daily cleanups, one in different SMDs every day. Our cleanup was held along Riggs Road on April 22nd. We collected over 25 bags of trash from along Riggs Road and sort of pushing into the Park Service land under the underpass. We are excited to have another opportunity to host another cleanup. And if anyone's interested, they should email me about participation. We haven't picked a date for May yet. And then in addition to that, we held a Earth Day resource fair just last Saturday at Whittier Elementary School, where we had the different agencies, Office of the Clean City, DOEE, various agencies were present to offer information about the green services that they offer. If you are not receiving emails from the ANC, you can go to our website and sign up. That will allow you to receive notification about events, as well as agendas for the monthly meetings, which are held on the fourth Monday of each month. This month's meeting is Monday, May 22nd, which does not interfere with Memorial Day. So everyone has the opportunity to come out and hear from our presenters as well as from our commissioners. The last announcement I have is with regard to 3rd Street, which also impacts the intersection of Riggs Road in South Dakota. We finally gotten word from DDOT of their intention to do something to improve the traffic flow along 3rd Street between Walmart, Chick-fil-A, up to where 2nd and 3rd Street intersect. So the objective is, and the request that was made in 2020 was for there to be a rotary or a circle installed at the intersection of 2nd and 3rd to help with the flow of traffic, and as well to increase the length of the median between South Dakota Avenue and just further up on 3rd Street above the Walmart parking lot, which was always supposed to have happened when Walmart opened, but they delayed installing. So hopefully that will be happening by the end of the summer. And with that, I can take any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Brooks. Any questions for Commissioner Brooks?
There actually is one from LaRoya, and I actually am going to bring her to panelist. One moment.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for my delay coming from Southeast, but at any rate, Commissioner Brooks, you're talking about the roundabout that was proposed some time ago by then President Yushena Evans that I brought you on board where we abated that.
Yeah, we're talking about the resolution that we put forth with a bunch of requests for that area. Out of that resolution, we're only looking at that basically 2 blocks of, I think that's about 2 blocks of 3rd Street between the Chick-fil-A and Chillum Place, basically.
So
we
it's not
asked,
the roundabout.
the roundabout is included because that would be between where 2nd and 3rd come together.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm sure, you know, the onset started with Yushena and I told you about that and then we walked. So that's good news for our community because it was needed, is needed, as we both know and we saw. So good news. Thank you so much. It wasn't clarity. That's it. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Any other questions for Commissioner Brooks?
I don't see
Thank you
any
so
more.
much, Commissioner Brooks. LaRoya, you can stay on because you're next.
All right. Well, thank you very
Commissioner
much
Huff.
again. Thank you very much. So my update has to do with the DDOT meeting that was held at Riggs LaSalle Recreation Center. My meeting is held every 3rd Saturday of the month from 10 till noon. Probably doesn't need to be as long, but I know that I have new constituents that I'm trying to get to know and find out the concerns as it relates to from Riggs Road to Kansas Avenue. And so there, God, he's going to kill me, Mr. Anderson. I want to say, oh my God, I'm not even trying to figure it out. But anyway, so he came on Saturday. We had a good conversation and a good list that was proposed to him. Some additional things were given to him. So it had to do with the lights over on Sheridan and New Eastern Avenue, looking at some traffic calming right there by the Cellar School. So there were about 30 items. And so it was a good, robust meeting. He had the preliminary pieces, but then of course, like I said, people added on. In our last 4B commission meeting, I co, Aaron actually wrote the resolution after some conversations about grocery carts being left in the neighborhood. Because as it stands for our community here on the Riggs Park side, Giant is able to pick them up, Walmart's able to pick them up. But when you go over the hill, if you go past New Hampshire Avenue, there was no recourse for grocery carts to be picked up. And so DPW suggested, putting in the illegal dumping, and then they're trashed, right? So we talked about perhaps some enforcement by the owners, say Giant, Safeway, Walmart, to be held accountable, because now we have Sophia. It used to be, they said that Mitchell would pick them up, but that was just a courtesy. And so I know they're a nuisance when people see them in the alleys or in front of their homes. So that was pretty good for our side. We're going to have a walk with DDOT so that he can see face to face. He has the lay of the land, but the commission wanted to do it on Saturday. So I got to figure out when that can happen. My next meeting is going to be on the 20th. It'll be Saturday at I told the folks it'd be at Lamond, but it may be at Riggs LaSalle, only because folks are concerned about DPW cans and as well rodents. So I will get that information out in time. And of course, if anybody needs to reach me, you can at 202-704-2427. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Huff. Do we have any questions for Commissioner Huff? Angie, any
There are-
questions
there
for
are
Commissioner
none.
Huff?
Actually, there's one that just came up. Does Laroya have a mailing list? And if so, if you could just drop it in the comment section.
Okay, thank you. I will.
All right, thank you so much, Commissioner Huff.
Thank you.
We're gonna go with the other commissioners, but Angie, can you see if Mr. Paul Tummons is
He
on?
is. I can elevate him. One moment, please.
Okay, so we're gonna go through the other commissioners. Do we have Commissioner Malone on? Do we have Commissioner Kozart on?
I don't see Commissioner Malone. I don't see Kozart.
And what about Commissioner Amerman?
I don't see him either.
Okay, so the Ward 5 commissioners are not here.
Allison's hand is up. My apologies for interrupting.
Allison's hand is up. Yes. Allison, Commissioner
I'm
Brooks, you have a
sorry.
question?
I have a comment. I neglected to mention that MPD meets on the second Tuesday of each month at 6 p.m. I'm dropping the link to the meeting in the chat for anybody that wants to join.
Is this the Sector 2 meeting?
It is, yes.
Okay, so
Sector
it's in
meeting.
person now?
No, it's remote, and I'm
okay.
dropping the information in the chat for people to join.
Thank you. I
It would
had
be
that
next
actually
Tuesday.
here that I was going to mention that. Thank you so much, Commissioner. And we will also put this on our website for
Oh, great.
people to be able to get that information. Again, as you may know, that the officers, sergeants, they do not attend community meetings anymore because they want to encourage residents to attend their sector meetings. Our area is Sector 2, and as Commissioner Brooks just said, the next meeting will be Tuesday, May 9th. It's just 1 hour long. but normally the captain is on and you can, ask directly to the captain any public safety questions, concerns that you have. So I encourage residents to actually attend those meetings. Thank you so much, Commissioner Brooks. Okay. Again, we're going a little bit out of order, but I want to announce that we were contacted by Mr. Paul Tummins, and he works on the Morris and Gwendolyn K. Fritz Foundation, the project that is there at Fort Totten, right there on South Dakota Avenue, the big hole you see in the ground. We were contacted because they need to do a modification of consequence. Is that right, Mr. Tummins?
That's correct.
And this will need to be done prior to our next meeting. So we wanted to give him 5 minutes to explain exactly what the modification on consequence is, and then he will take any questions from the community. So Mr. Tummins, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. I was wondering if I could just allow me to share my screen. I have a couple of images, and truthfully, we have a pretty simple application, so I think we can do that in less than our 4 minutes and 50 seconds here. So if I could get that privilege to share the screen.
You should have authorization.
All right. Okay, are
And
people able
Mr.
to?
Tummins, I don't
Yeah.
know if you're going to mention this, but just a refresher, can you just tell people what is going to be in that space?
Absolutely. Okay, so I hope people can see my screen now. Pretty picture of a building.
Yes, we can see.
I don't see it.
I see it.
Oh, you do? Oh,
I
okay.
see it also.
Okay, well, I'll start. Hopefully, President Rogers can get it. So again, thank you very
It's
much.
okay, as long as they can see it, I'm good.
Perfect. Again, my name is Paul Tummins. I'm a zoning and land use attorney with Goldsman Stores, and I've been working with the K. Fritz Foundation on the development of the Art Place at Fort Totten project, and in particular, what we refer to as Block B. This is the Block B building we have before you. Give you a sense, this is South Dakota Avenue here. This is Ingraham Street. On the left here, this is the modern apartment building, and then the right-hand side here is Kennedy Street going up. You may remember back in 2020, we got approved a project here that included this big show space here, which was at one time going to include the Meow Wolf Interactive Theater Project, a children's museum, more interactive space here, and an Aldi grocery store here at the corner of South Dakota and Kennedy. In the back, there is residential uses here in this building here, and this building here. And then you may remember on the back side of this building, we had closed what was 4th Street, and we're going to create a real pedestrian mall, walkable entertainment area. So President Rogers was correct in that we filed a modification of consequence last Friday. And what we need to do is, for those of you that have been by the site recently, I'll show you a picture. You may remember it started out as this. We've been busy for the last year plus, digging a big hole and then filling that hole back up to here we are. This is kind of where we are, the construction progress. So what we've done is we dug the hole, we put the parking in, and then we're almost up to grade again. What we need to do for this application of consequence we are requesting is we need to be able to deliver this first part of the building, the Aldi and the Children's Museum space. We need to be able to deliver that to those tenants by February of next year, which will allow them to do their interior work so that those spaces can be open for business. We're hoping by the end of 24 that Aldi will be open. Right now, the zoning commission order that approved this entire project does not have a specific order that says you can have occupancy of certain phases of the building while construction is occurring on other phases. So in order to make sure that it's explicit that when we go to pull the relevant permits for these individual spaces, we are proposing sequencing of construction and occupancy. So the most important thing is it's for this first phase here that by February of 2024, we will deliver this building. Aldi then can go and pull their permits, and then they can hopefully open by the end of 2024. We then have a second phase of construction, which would include the residential buildings that I mentioned here. Here's that 4th Street kind of pedestrian connection, and then more of the art space along South Dakota. And then the final phase would be this third construction and occupancy sequence phase right here. We do not intend to stop construction. We're just going to go right through, but this is just really to allow the project to be open as soon as possible when those portions of the building are ready to be opened. So there's no changes to the height, size, design of the buildings that were approved by the zoning commission. This is really just to allow us a new condition to show and to be allowed to do the construction and occupancy sequencing like I've shown in this diagram right here. With that, I'm able to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tummons. Do we have any questions for Mr. Tummons?
We do have a couple in the comments, one from Rodney Foxworth and one from Edwin Washington. I will bring Rodney into the chat.
Hey, Mr. Tillman, how are you? Good to see you
Foxworth,
again.
it's good to talk to you again. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Just a quick question. Do you foresee any impacts from traffic and or parking on South Dakota or other parts of the community if you were to phase this in?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And I will bring in Mr. Washington.
Edwin?
Yes, hello. Hi there, Paul. How you doing?
Edwin, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Listen, I wanted to just ask you about the art lofts, the spaces for the artists and the lofts. Is that still a part of this?
Yes, and that will be in this.
Yeah.
That's in this second construction phase. So that's here along this ground floor here. That's where those will be. And then the residential units for the artists are here in the residential building.
I recall that from when you had that up. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon, okay?
You bet.
It looks like we have 3 more. First one I hand raised was Ms. Larson.
Hi, everybody. I was just wondering, Mr. Tummons, you said there was space and it sounds like it would be in the latter stages of the project at this point. But for Meow Wolf and the Children's Museum, are those still going to be a part of the construction?
So the good thing is the Children's Museum is part of the first phase of construction. So the Children's Museum will be that building, this building I'm showing right here. Children's Museum is roughly here. This is the Aldi. That will be ready to go. Hopefully by the end of 2024, we'll be able to deliver this building to them beginning of 2024. Meow Wolf was part of the project. They decided during the pandemic to not be, but we are hopeful that we'll be able to have an announcement soon about what will go into that space, and that would be this third construction and occupancy phase here. But most importantly, Children's Museum is coming first phase.
Great, thank you.
And it looks like we have 3 more. We'll go in order. Mr. Foxworth again, Ms. Pender, and then Ms. Lewis Wright. And it looks like he just dropped his hand, so we'll go to Ms. Pender.
Yes, good evening, everyone. With the added housing, how do you perceive the traffic on Riggs Road and South Dakota? Because there's one exit out.
No, in fact, there's entrances and exits. So this can come here from off of Kennedy. There is off of then both Ingraham street here. You can go underneath to get to this once this building is done. And then there's an alley off the back here of this building. So this was a project that we've been really talking about, working on since for a long time. And I would say this, I'm looking at the exact date, this building and all its kind of traffic impacts were addressed when we went to the zoning commission back in 2020. But we don't envision with this, what we're requesting, any different impacts on traffic or parking as a result of this sequencing.
Well, how many apartments are you thinking you're gonna have?
294.
294, and you don't perceive any traffic problems?
Well, that's right. So there's going to be 500 parking spaces here, and we think, they will be coming. These people will be, the people coming to this site will be accessing from either South Dakota to Kennedy, South Dakota to Ingraham. We really don't see them coming here off of Riggs Road.
Okay, thank you. I don't see it, but okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Any more questions?
Nothing from the chat unless there are some phone
I see
people.
Danielle's hand up.
Yes, we have Danielle.
Can you just repeat, Paul, what will be in phase one? You said Aldi and the Children's Museum.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. The Aldi grocery store, which is here at the corner of Kennedy and South Dakota, and then the Children's Museum, which is roughly on this side of it here.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
And lastly, *9, if anyone on the phone has a question. And looks like there are none.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Tummins, for giving our community an update. And we look forward to additional updates, probably when the meetings resume in October.
Sounds great.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. So Edwin Washington. Edwin, did you have an update before we get into nominations?
Let me bring him as panelist, one moment.
All right. Great. Thank you very much, President Rogers. Just a few things. I just want a quick update here. One, it was the board of directors asked me to say how much we enjoyed supporting the Lamond-Riggs Citizens Association for its 75th anniversary. And then I thought it was great. Ms. Carter did an outstanding job in putting everything together. And then everyone, I saw Leroy was doing her normal thing of helping people, making sure everybody was all right. And of course, as president, you did your thing. So we're glad to support. In 75 years, that's an amazing accomplishment. Secondly, what I'd like to do is just share that we had an Earth Day celebration event at Hellbender Hill on Earth Day that went great. I had a lot of support. A lot of folks were up on that hill doing invasive vines. So we did that. And there is also right now, we are partnering with the Office of Planning for a commemorative works project for Ward 5. I kind of was quick on the trigger, but I'll put in the chat a link that comes to our website that just kind of tells you what that's about. It's about commemorating a person, place, event, thing, or something that is indicative and should be recognized within Ward 5. We'll be doing community engagement meetings. You'll see on our site, it says that it will start in May, but working with the Office of Planning, they decided to push the project back until June to have the meetings. So there'll be more about that coming forward. And this is being done in 3 other wards in the city as well: Ward 4, Ward 7, and Ward 8, where each of their main streets that are overseeing the project and working with the Office of Planning to engage the community in getting ideas for what person, place, thing, or event to commemorate, and then also work on and then the type of and where the site location could be. Finally, Art All Night is coming up. I know it's September 30th. It's September 30th seems far, far away, but it's less than now, about 4 months away, almost 4.5 months away, perhaps. And we are looking for volunteers, for artists, for vendors, for performers. We have preference and hope that we'll continue to get the talent that is already here and entrepreneurs that have small businesses in terms of tables, being able to put something out. So stay tuned for that. We are looking for volunteers. We'll put in the info. We're looking for people to help us with the planning committee. So stay tuned. I'll put the link in just now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Edwin, for the great work that you do. Do we have any questions for Edwin Washington at this time?
I don't see any hands in the comment section, or *9 if you're on the phone.
Okay, Edwin, you're getting off easy today.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Actually,
All right,
Ms.
thank
Huff
you.
actually has a question.
Okay.
Hey, hi there, Elwin. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Commissioner.
Quick question. So with respect to persons to be nominated, can it also include groups that's contributed to diffusement between communities?
To be I'm sorry, I misunderstood about
To be nominated. So you're saying that you're looking for people?
Oh, yes. But the meetings will be convened. There'll be at least 3 meetings throughout Ward 5, but there will be one at Lillian J. Huff. And there'll probably be one at Woodridge and maybe something else somewhere else. And then we'll have it'll also be virtual. So we'll at least have 3 meetings, but it is to get ideas from the community.
Okay.
Person, place, thing, or event that is could be commemorated, and the suggested sites and location.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Edwin Washington?
With Parks Main Street, right?
I
like that background.
Oh, that's right. I do have that back there, don't I?
Yeah, looks good. Okay, thank you, Edwin.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we are going to again move the agenda for what we're all here for. I'm going to actually turn it over to Heather Rogers, who is our chair of our nominating committee. She'll recognize the other. Oh, no. Before we go to that, I'm sorry. We have to go back and do the officers' report. So we have to do the treasurer's report. And as it may have been mentioned that Commissioner Walker had an emergency, and so she is not here to give the treasurer's report, but Tisha Cockrell, our current financial secretary, will actually give the treasurer's report.
Hello, LRCA. My apologies, I had to change hats. So the current treasurer's report is, I'm bringing it up. Our beginning balance was $9,182.58. Membership dues are additional $434.27. We have a subtraction of $1,440.25 for quality printers for our 75th souvenir booklet. Another subtraction of $1,002.02 for our 75th anniversary expenses, with the total expenses of $2442.27, with an ending balance of $7,174.58. That's the treasurer's report. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tisha Cockrell. And now we're going to move on to our minutes. As you know, the April minutes were printed in the May 2023 newsletter. Hopefully, they're also online. So can I get a motion to accept the April minutes as they were printed in the May newsletter.
Motion to accept.
Can I get a second?
Second. Second.
Thank you. So it has been moved and seconded that we accept the April news minutes as they are printed in the May 2023 newsletter. All in favor, raise your hand. Those that are elevated can say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any,
Aye.
okay, any nays? Tisha, your hand is still up. Any abstentions? Okay, so the motion passes. So now I am going to turn this part of the meeting over to Heather Rogers, who is our nominating committee chair, and she will introduce the other committee members. Heather.
Yes, hey, nice to be here, everybody. Thank you, President Rogers. I just wanted to go through briefly our election procedures, introduce the other nominating committee members, and then we're going to have a section for nominations again. We only have a few people that are already accepted their nominations, and then we'll have time for people to go through and introduce themselves. So hopefully we can keep it tight. We'll see. Looking forward to hearing from everybody tonight. So on our nominating committee, we have Tanya Slade, Ms. Pat McKellen, Ms. Elaine, why am I not thinking this? Elaine Gunter Howe. Yes, Ms. Gunter. And I think that those are our nominating committee members. So thank you so much for everybody. You know, we put out a call in February for nominating committee members. And thank you for the folks that answered the call and have been working on this with us the last few months. So quick reminder, as you probably learned in our last meeting and saw in the emails that have gone out, and what was posted to the listserv and in the newsletter, in keeping with the precedent that was set under the former president, Mr. Foxworth's tenure, while we're doing our online meetings, we're going to be doing voting that comes up. We're going to have our meeting tonight where we meet everybody. Our voting is going to run tomorrow electronically from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Fortunately, this year, because COVID has moved off a little bit, it's definitely still happening, but we're having voting for people that would like to vote in line or in person from 6:30 to 8 p.m. tomorrow night at the Lillian J. Huff Lamond-Riggs Library. So those are our voting. And I think with that, let's just move on to the nominations. I'm sure we're going to have a few. I did want to say that we already have two people, trustees, who were nominated and accepted the nomination last meeting, Reverend Mays and Mr. Edgar Shepherd. So we have those two nominees. And we have someone else who accepted a nomination but is now running for a different position. So I believe we will need to do a nomination again. So with that, let's just get started with our nominations. Do we have any nominations for president?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
May I ask a question? In the newsletter, as we've reported on the last two meetings, that if you were interested in running for a position, you should have contacted Heather and your name then would be included in the newsletter. So in the main newsletter, there were additional people that decided that they were going to run. My question to you, Heather, is these people are in the newsletter listed as running for a position. Do they need to be nominated on this meeting? Or would they need to just accept the nomination? Does that make sense?
That does make sense, Barbara. The way that I have read this,
I mean, we can
yeah,
nominate
the
them.
way
It's
that I
not a
have
big
read
deal.
this is that they need to be they still need to be nominated. Because previously in the last meeting, and I want to keep with that, in the last meeting, you know, Reverend Mays and Mr. Shepherd had already let me know, but they still
Right.
have to be nominated. So we're gonna
Gotcha.
follow that. That's my interpretation of the bylaws.
No problem.
But yeah, thank you for everybody that did make notice of that, so we can go ahead and have them on, so that we can go ahead and be aware of that.
Sorry
right.
for interrupting.
No, thank you. Thank you, President Rogers.
Are we bringing up the nomination for the president now?
Yes. And I do want to address something here. Can I just address something that Mr. Foxworth has put, and we're not going to go into this. This is going to be the end of this. That is not how the voting happened in May of the last election. I'm not going to expand deeply into that because everyone that was involved knows how it happened. Our interpretation of the bylaws is that counts for regular meetings. We are following the precedent that was set whenever we had our online meetings. I personally hope and pray that our next meeting in the fall is going to be in person. That's going to be under the next board's decision though. So that's what we're going to be doing. And I would say that this is not considered still a regular format for us. But this isn't exactly in keeping for folks who weren't around for the last election. This is exactly in keeping what's happened last year. The only difference is this year we were fortunately able to add some in-person voting for our members that would rather do that than online.
Right.
So if we could just move along.
Yep.
Let's get nominations from the floor for the president position.
I'd like to nominate current President Barbara Rogers for president in the next term.
Oh, and I forgot to make a note. I'm so sorry. Whenever you've been nominated and accepted the nomination, could you please put your name and the position in the notes so that we can make sure that we get everything recorded accurately on the ballots?
You want us to put it in the chat?
Yeah, after you've accepted.
Okay. I accept the nomination for president.
Great. So that's one. Do we have anybody else who would like to nominate someone for president?
This is Apostle Paul Smith. I would like to nominate Miss Angie as vice president.
Oh, great.
Oh,
thank you, Reverend Paul. I'll go ahead and make a note of that.
I thank you very much, but I actually declined that nomination.
Heather, do you need to close the nominations for president?
Yeah, I guess I'll close the nominations for president at this point. And let's open up the nominations. Reverend Paul beat me to it. Let's open up the nominations for first vice president.
Sorry about that.
No, thank you.
I know. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, please, if someone has a nomination for first vice president.
I do. I nominate Danielle Lewis Wright for first vice president.
I accept the nomination for first vice president. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anybody else like to be nominated or nominate someone for first vice president?
Star 9, if you're on the phone, you can raise your hand. We'll allow you to speak. Otherwise, others on the video can go ahead and raise your hand. We'll allow you to speak.
All right, well, let's close that. Let's open the nominations for second vice president.
I will nominate Shawan Robinson if she's on the call.
I do see her. One moment, please.
Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, I accept the nomination. Thank you, President Rogers.
Thank you.
Thank you. And anybody else for second vice president? All right. Treasurer. Would anybody like to put forth any nominations for treasurer?
I'll nominate Rhonda Jenkins if she's on the call. These people are going to kill me.
I do not see her on the line.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out how to come back to that one then. Is there anybody else that would like to nominate themselves or another member for treasurer? All right. Recording secretary. Would anybody like to nominate someone for the position of recording secretary?
Is Joe?
Yeah, no, we didn't get a chance to talk back about that. Would
Joe Antashak, is he on the call?
I do not see him.
Okay. We will move on then to parliamentarian. The nominations for parliamentarian are open now. Well, I think everybody's going to be nominating for trustee then. That's where we're going to see our, yeah, Mr. Roger.
And
President
can
Roger.
we get Danielle and Shawan to put their information in the chat?
I already
will-
added my
Danielle
information.
Oh, Danielle's already there. Sorry, Danielle.
No problem.
Okay. Let's move forward to, we have the youth delegate, which is also can be nominated, or it can be someone who lives in a household with a member. Did anyone have somebody that they would like to nominate or nominate themselves for the youth delegate position?
*9 if you're on the phone. Raise your hand and we can allow you to speak.
All right. Trustees. Who would like to nominate somebody or be nominated for the trustee positions? And as a reminder, we have 10 trustee positions. So if you would like to nominate somebody or be nominated, please let us know now.
And Reverend Mays and Mr. Edgar have already accepted. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. They already accepted.
Okay. I nominate Miss Mack.
Is Ms. Mack on the line?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. Do you accept?
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and I would like to nominate Robinson as the trustee.
Who's, I didn't hear.
Laverne Robinson.
Ms.
Ms.
Mack,
Mack.
out again. Sorry.
You can't hear me?
You're breaking up a little bit.
Laverne Robinson.
Sounds like they're saying Laverne Robinson.
She said Laverne Robinson.
Johnson, Laverne Johnson.
Johnson, then, yes.
Okay, one moment.
Oh, Laverne Johnson.
I'm here.
You, Ms. Johnson, would you like to accept the nomination for trustee?
I will.
Wonderful, thank you.
I'd like to nominate Reverend Paul.
Greetings, this is Reverend Paul. I accept the nomination.
Thank you, Reverend Paul.
Thank you.
All right.
I'd like to nominate Angeline Booth.
Thank you. I accept the nomination.
Great, thank you.
And Miss Vandaline Joyner Taylor.
I don't see her on the line unless she's joining us via phone.
She may be.
She was online under Miss Van.
Ah, thank you, ma'am. You may speak now, Ms. Van.
Could you hear me?
We can hear you now. Do you
I do accept the nomination. Yes, I do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Elaine's hand is up.
Miss Elaine?
Oh, sorry.
Would like to nominate Robert Oliver.
I think we're gonna have to take a look at
Yeah.
the requirements to be on the ballot.
Yeah. I just got a text from Miss Mack that let's finish this. Rhonda Jenkins is now on the line for treasurer, but let's finish the trustees.
Okay, well, we can circle back then. All right.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any trustee nominations?
Oh, can I nominate Julia Larson? Is she still on?
Yes, she is. One moment.
Hey, y'all, thank you so much for the nomination. I accept.
Wonderful, thank you.
And I have Miss Mack that has her hand up, but I believe that's probably in regarding what she texted you. Let me.
No, I think, yeah, can you call on her? I think she has something else.
Looks like she took her hand down or she's in. We have someone on phone 202-744-6531. Go ahead and ask your question or nominate who you want to nominate.
We can't hear you if you're speaking right now.
I just sent you a couple of requests to unmute. Otherwise, I will put you back in the chat. And if you do have a question again, go ahead and raise your hand again.
They're on the phone, and they are not unmuted. I can see the number and the strike through the phone. They are only on the phone.
Oh, yeah, they are. Yeah.
What do they need to do to unmute? Is it star some specific number?
I'm actually shooting a request to them that's giving them the information, but if
they're on the phone, they're not going to get that information.
Yes, they'll hear an audio.
Sorry.
Sorry. It's *6 on your phone to unmute. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the chat. Ms. Gunter again.
Y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, did y'all hear me before when I asked to nominate Robert Oliver?
Yes, and Heather
Yeah.
responded to you, Miss Elaine.
I'm sorry, Miss Lane. We're just gonna have to go back and look at the bylaws.
Oh,
about it.
Yeah,
okay.
because, yeah, Mr. Oliver doesn't live within the boundaries to be an officer. He is he can be a co-chair because of his corporate donation.
Oh,
Does that
okay,
make sense?
I guess. Okay,
Yep,
all right.
thank you.
Oh, okay, great, Miss Mack. It looks like you're trying to nominate somebody. Elizabeth
bringing her.
Pavlik as a trustee. Is Ms. Pavlik available?
I see her. One moment, please.
Yes, thank you for the nomination, Ms. Mack. I accept.
Okay.
No.
Does anybody else have any nominations for trustees?
I have a hand up, another for Miss Mack. I'm assuming she didn't put her hand back up because I believe I took her hand down. I'll bring her back in. Miss Mack, did you have another nomination?
No, I'm thank you.
Okay,
I think
thank
her
you.
computer's acting up, she said, so. All right, thank you.
And we do have a question or a comment from Mr. Oliver. I'll bring him in. I'm not sure. Give me a moment here.
Is it relating to this? Because we want to get through the nominations.
Yeah, let's
Is
get through
Mr.
the
Oliver,
nominations. I think that
is he
this
nominating someone or something?
did we have any more trustee nominations? Oh, it looks, do we have any more trustee nominations first? Okay, and did we want to double back? Was Rhonda Jenkins on the line now? Was that what was stated? I think that she was nominated for a position earlier.
It looks like Rhonda. I'm assuming this is her. Let me bring her in. And she is in the chat if this is Rhonda Jenkins.
Ms. Jenkins, would you like to accept the nomination? And could you remind me which position that is for my notes?
Treasurer.
Treasurer? Oh, great. Thank you.
And we cannot hear you.
Great. Thank you. Oh, trustee. Okay. I think at this time you were nominated for the treasurer. I'm not sure if you would like to be nominated for trustee. Someone will, or you can nominate yourself. All right. But currently the nomination, as I understand it, is treasurer. So if you would like to be trustee instead, okay, great. And Ms. Mack nominated you as trustee. Ms. Jenkins, do you accept the nomination as trustee?
She's saying that she cannot find her mic on the
But
Zoom.
she did say
I'm going to
yes.
send you a request and it
She
should
said yes.
pop a little screen before you. And you should see it now. That will allow you to unmute.
All right. Well, I think
Somebody's not muted.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
we can. Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Yes, I accept the nomination.
Thank you. Well, I
And for
think-
which position, trustee or treasurer?
That was trustee for right now.
Trustee, okay.
Yes, thank you.
Great. Well, and I think at this point, it sounds like we have two more people who have their hand up. I know that it sounds like one of them, I saw Mr. Robert Oliver and Mr. Rodney Foxworth. I can't see hands, but I see you in the chat. So we could go ahead and have, Mr. Foxworth, are you interested in nominating someone for a position?
I do not see his hand raised in the chat.
Could you raise your hand again, Rodney?
Okay, now it's raised again. And
Okay, and for people on the phone who can't see, it looks like Mr. Oliver withdrew his nomination. So I think that we're all in accord there. Mr. Foxworth, did you have a comment, question?
Yeah, as I was bringing him in, someone else popped in before him. So let me try this again.
Does he have someone to
You have a
nominate?
nomination?
So thanks, Heather. So you guys were taking questions and then nominations. So I have a question. I see that, I guess the board and the trustees, along with President Rogers and our officers, created a youth delegate position. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it was in the bylaws. It's in the new bylaws. It's designed to hopefully get some youth involved in the neighborhood. We know that we have so many youth that are looking for a way to plug in and maybe don't feel comfortable jumping into a full trustee position, or they might not be old enough to do that.
Right.
So it's open to either people that live in the household of members for the 16 to 17-year-olds, because they can't be members yet,
Right.
or a member 18 to 25.
Oh, I think that's pretty interesting. I also paid my membership dues on the first.
Yeah.
And I expressed interest on being on the bylaws committee and or certainly voting for the bylaws, but I never received anything. So I know that you guys changed the procedures this year, that you have to be a member of the organization to vote on the bylaws. And as you know, I have some concerns about that because it kind of eliminates the vast majority of people in this community to vote on the bylaws. But again, I pay my membership on the first. I actually pay for my neighbor across the street, and neither of us got any information about where to vote on the bylaws. So just want to hear your thoughts about that. And maybe that's a
Rodney,
question for
we're
Tricia.
not taking that comment right now, but you joined after that meeting.
Can we let Tisha respond to him about the bylaws quickly, and then we're gonna move on.
And she's also the financial secretary, so I presume that she got my check.
I did not, so let me speak. I did not get your check, Rodney, because you paid literally, you walked in the post office and paid on April 1st when the bylaw meeting, which was put in the newsletter several times and mentioned on these meetings, was March 20th.
Well, actually, Tish, I asked in the March meeting, when can people pay to be included in the bylaws discussion and to vote? And if you check the minutes from the meeting, or if it's not in the minutes, check the tape, you will clearly see that I think it was President Rogers say, yes, if you pay by April 1st, then you can
No.
at least vote on the bylaws. So
That is incorrect, Rodney. I listened to the tape, and what you're saying is incorrect.
that is not
Tish
correct,
has-
Barbara.
Tish
I
has
asked a
put
specific question.
Tish has said the date several times.
I asked a specific question. That's
you
why
mute
I
him,
joined,
please?
so I can have a vote on the.
You were on the bylaws committee, Rodney. You were on the bylaws committee. You were on the development task force committee. You removed yourself. We have the email that you removed yourself from the bylaws committee. So if you wanted to be involved, why did you remove yourself? We're going to move forward. Tish mentioned that several times on the last two meetings of when you had to pay your dues to be able to vote on the new bylaws. You did not pay your dues. As you said, you paid your dues on the very last day, and so you did not participate. You had ample opportunity in the last two meetings. Tish gave a bylaws update on every meeting. If you truly wanted to be part of the bylaws committee, you would have reached out to someone and not wait until today. So can we move the agenda, Heather?
Yes, absolutely. I think I'd like to, it sounds like no more nominations from the floor or self-nominating. So let's go ahead and close the nominations. Do I have a motion to
Motion to close.
nominations? Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, great. Well, at this point, I know some of you are newly nominated, but I can run down and let people spend a few moments talking about themselves. And I'll just run down the list of names that I have. And I don't believe I'm gonna leave anybody out because the firm record to make sure everybody is on the ballot is in the chat. And run down the list that I have. Current President Rogers, it looks like you are running for president. Do you want to briefly say a few words?
I'm sorry.
Can you briefly say, do you want to briefly say a few words?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I will say, I decided to run again. I think people have heard me over the last year being excited that I would not have to run. I am disappointed that we don't have, people that want to, to run for these offices. And so if I am selected to be the president for 2 more years, it'll be part of my mission to get people more engaged. Again, I decided to run to be able to keep peaceful meetings going forward, to unite our community, and again, to just make our community the best neighborhood. I think it's one of the best neighborhoods in the city. And I will continue the next 2 years to make that, stay as it is. So again, I think we all on here want the same thing, and that is to be in a loving, peaceful neighborhood. And that is what I will do as I continue as president. And I thank you all. I ask for your vote tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, President Rogers. Next on my list, and I'm vice president. So Danielle Lewis-Wright.
So good evening, everyone. I am a resident of our beloved community, and I am interested in running in your vote because I'm a firm believer in having a cordial relationship and building a wonderful community for ourselves and our families and for generations to come. I am so blessed to have a wonderful husband and a beautiful 3-year-old daughter, and I enjoy the playground on Nicholson. I've met wonderful new neighbors. I've used the library and amenities in our community, and I just want to continue to see it grow. I'm a firm believer that we're all neighbors. If you've been here 50 years or 5 months, we're still part of this community. We still want it to thrive and prosper and just be one unit, one community growing together. I've enjoyed my 2 years serving as a trustee under our current leadership, and I was elated to see that she wanted to continue to serve in her capacity, and the other wonderful trustees and just community members, and to keep that spirit of community going. Thank you so much, and I hope that you vote for me.
Thank you, Danielle. For second vice president, we have Shawan Robinson running. Would you like to say a few words and introduce yourself?
All right, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Shawan Robinson. I am a longtime resident of the Lamond-Riggs community. I own 2 properties in the community, and I am, very pleased with how the community is being revitalized now. I love the development that is coming to the community, but I am really, looking forward to, supporting the Citizens Association and with building, that community camaraderie. I think that, our parents, we're so used to having, as they thrived in this community. I'm really pleased to see with the development that, this community is, going to be thriving. And it is becoming a more desirable community to reside in, just as for many years other spaces have been, in the city. And so I am, currently in a position, where, I want to volunteer, I want to support, the efforts of the Citizens Association. And so I am here to serve in any capacity to continue to see the association thrive. And to grow and do what I can, to bring, more membership, to the organization, so that, we can continue to prosper in that direction. I currently am an educator in Montgomery County Public Schools. This is my 29th year in education, so I am no stranger to chairing and facilitating and collaborating with large organizations. I am very passionate about education for our children, and I think with this, whatever efforts that I can employ to help improve, our local school community. I am also willing to serve, and do that as well. And so I appreciate, the nomination, and, hope others will move forward to see fit so that I can bring my area of expertise to the Citizens Association. So thank you.
Thank you. I think that at this point, we're able to move forward to the trustee nominations. And I want to give the two folks that already were nominated, thank you once again very much for doing that last meeting. Reverend Mays, are you on the line? Would you like to say anything? Do we see Reverend Mays there?
I am looking for her right now. I do not see her in the chat tonight, unless someone else does. No, I do not see her.
I know that Mr. Shepherd was on here earlier. Mr. Shepherd, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Agus Shepherd. Can you hear me?
I can, yes, thank you.
My name is Agus Shepherd, and I'm happy to serve another term, to work with the association and to build build on what we have started, and work in the community, especially working with the seniors, and whatever else that I can do to strengthen the group. Looking forward to continue to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And moving down our list of trustees here, I've got Miss Laverne Johnson. Would you like to introduce yourself and say a brief little bit about running for trustee?
Is she on there? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Barbara, you said it when you said that you think that this is one of the best neighborhoods in this city. I was born and raised in Riggs Park. When I became a homeowner, I came back to Riggs Park, and I've been here for years. I'm a former block captain. I love my community, and I've been looking for ways to get more involved in the Citizens Association. I'm looking to help get involved, to re-engage and to work and support the association as best I can. So I think this is a starting place for me, and I'm just looking to do what I can to help.
Great, thank you so much. Reverend Paul.
Yes, good evening, everyone again. My name is Paul Smith. I have been in the community for almost 30 years. So I pretty much have seen the beginning to almost what's approaching to be a new dimension in terms of the structures and buildings and things of that nature. But what comes to my mind in terms of being considered for another 2 years under this great leader is that there seems to be a need for a spirit of peace. And I've seen that in the past 2 years in terms of how our current president Rogers have been able to manage our whole organization. And not only just President Rogers, but she's a leader. And one thing about being in leadership is that you have to always be reminded that people are watching you and people are listening to you. But most of all, you have to also understand that as a leader, you're going to have to lead in the spirit of humility. And there's not always things that go our way. So I'm elated to be considered for another 2 years. Most of you know that I have not been visible up front in this community, but there's a lot that we do behind the scenes. And one of those key things that we do is pray for this community. We pray for peace, and we pray for reasoning together. Because the only way that we'll be able to grow in this community is if we respect each other and understand how to reason together. And so President Rogers and to the entire current board, as well as our future board, I certainly hope and pray that we will continue in that spirit of making sure that we all are able to reason together. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Elizabeth Pavlik, would you like to say a few words and introduce yourself?
One moment while I bring her online.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Pavlik. I've been in this community for about 6.5 years. I think for the last couple of years, I'm probably, if anybody sees me walking around, I'm pretty recognizable. I'm walking around with a medium-sized black dog all the time. So you probably do see me on the streets. I really like this community. I think there's a lot of great things that are coming up, and I think there's a lot of good, we can do, and hopefully we can help make it better. And, I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe next on my list is Miss Angeline Booz. Angie, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. That would be me. So everyone, my name is Angela Booth. I'm the current second VP and the communication chair. I'd like to put my name into the trustee bucket. I've enjoyed my time serving with the organization, helping it grow and develop and introducing new technologies to the org. And I know there's so much more that we can do in order to really push this organization to the forefront. So with your vote, I would like to continue on for the next term. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Vandalyn Joyner Taylor, are you available?
One moment. Let me try to invite her again. One moment. And she's coming on board. And if not, I will actually just give her permission to talk. That might be easier for her to join in.
Sure.
Ms. Van, you may speak now.
All right. My name is Vandelia Joyner Taylor. I've lived in this community for over 60 years. I've seen a lot of changes, and most of them were for better things. I have enjoyed this past season since I've been on this committee, period. And I'm no stranger to hard work. So I am looking forward to continuing the hard work and make it just a little bit better for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Miss Julia Larson. Would you like to say a few words and introduce yourself to people?
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Larson, and I just want to start by saying, Angela, your communication skills on this call are just like unparalleled. I didn't know what a panelist was, and I was like, I have to apologize for not being on camera, but you got it worked out immediately. So thank you for that. I live at the corner of Riggs and Nicholson. If we haven't met, you guys have probably seen our pup Chadwick out in the yard. We're always playing disc with him. And then my boyfriend Blake and I were at Riggs Park Day this past year, trying our best to make cotton candy cones for everybody. But yeah, I think with that, like those are just a couple of some of the little everyday things that we've done up to this point, that I've done up to this point, to be able to participate in this community that I just am so grateful to be a part of. And I'm really excited to throw my name in the hat to be a part of the community more officially. And so thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I hope to be representing everybody and provide what our president said, a little bit more engagement and community to Riggs Park. So thank you.
Great, thank you. And did I leave anybody out? Is there someone who accepted the nomination and has not had a chance to introduce themselves yet?
Did Miss Mack say something?
Yeah, so I had a check by Miss Mack and I wasn't sure. Miss Mack, would you like to say a few words? And then Ms. Jenkins, sounds like we'll be able to circle back when we were trying to get you earlier and I don't think that worked out. But Ms. Mack, would you like to say a few words? Oh, your audio is not
I
working.
just invited her in, but let me go ahead. Oh, she's coming in now.
Her audio is not working, she said.
Okay, we're just going to go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think it's working.
And
Okay.
Can hear you faintly.
I would just like to say, my computer's messing up. I don't speak this time. But I've been ready to get,
We really can't hear you, unfortunately.
Okay.
And Ms. Rhonda Jenkins, you are, would you like to say a few words? We try to get you on now.
yeah, let me bring her in one moment. And she's being promoted right now.
Hello, everyone. I am Rhonda Jenkins, and I just want to say I've been living in Riggs Park for 23 years. Hey. So that's why I said, let me turn my camera on because I know some of you have seen me, but now you know the face with the name. I've been around here for 23 years, and I have participated in different activities within the community. So I just said now it's just time for me to get involved and stop being behind the scenes. So I'm up for the challenge and I'm here to do whatever is needed. I want to learn as I go, you know, and so for those that's been there, I'm looking for you to, you know, to help me along, to mentor me, to tell me, you know, what to do, to learn more about the bylaws and all the, you know, things that we have in place. So I just want to come on as a newbie to learn and to get all the knowledge, but also what I've seen in Ward 4, well, within our area, I love because you have revived some things. I've seen a lot of stuff that as I came over here 23 years ago, we didn't have the different things. We didn't have the different activities at the rec center, or even I loved how we had I call it the community day, where everybody came out and did what they did up and down I say the block party. So I see how we're reviving the neighborhood again, and I love it. So I'm here to work, but also to learn. And thank you for the nomination. I accept it.
Thank you. I think that was everybody. If I missed you, please let me know. Great. Well, I just want to touch one more time and outline the voting procedures. Then I'll turn it back over to President Rogers. And so you will get your online voting. If we have your email, you should have received notification that you can link to the portal and make sure that your password is correct. If not, Angie's email spells out how you can reset your password. You'll get your link to your ballot tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. That'll be open from 9 to 8. People who would prefer to vote in person can come down to the library and vote from 6:30 to 8 p.m. If you have any questions about that voting, please shoot me an email, heather@lrcadc.org. But essentially we will be there. We have a list. You will be voting by secret ballot. So it looks like, yes, if you're having problems with logging in, please contact Angie. It looks like Lauren did. That's great. So if anybody else has problems with the login part, please contact Angela. Does anybody have questions specifically pertaining to the voting procedure tomorrow? Oh, and vote counting. So we will count the votes on Wednesday, also at the library. And we expect that counting to be done hopefully by 4 o'clock. And then we expect to have a Zoom meeting. The time will be sent out during the day on Wednesday to announce the winners of the vote.
And Heather, if I could just add, we want to encourage people, if you are voting online, please log on early. Do not wait to the last hour and you can't log in. So please try to log in early in case you have some issues with logging in. Okay, we just want to encourage people to do that. And then if all else fails, you can come to the library and vote in person.
We will be there. Okay, great. Well, I think we'll close up the election part. It didn't actually end up being too late. And I'm going to turn it back over to President Rogers for anything else that's come up or closing out the meeting.
Yep, I don't have anything else. Angie, did you have anything to add on the election?
No, you think you explained everything very well. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, President Rogers. Again, I put my email in the chat. It's my first name, ANGELYN@lrcadc.org. If you have any problems logging in, I did see your question or the issue that you had, Ms. Lauren, and I just saw that you sent me an email, so I'll take a look at that for you and get back to you via email and help you work out the issue that you're having. But again, if you have any issues, if you could get back to me, check it out tonight before you go to bed. And then send me a message if there's an issue and we will work things through.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I didn't raise my hand.
Go ahead, Tish.
Will we get a list of all the folks' names before we cast our vote?
Oh, yes. So you're going to get a ballot. It's going to be the online ballot like we did last time. So it's going to be an online ballot you choose for each position. It is a secret ballot, but it will have everybody's names. The in-person ballot is also going to have everybody's names.
Okay,
So
thank
you
you.
will not need to remember to spell them correctly and write them all in.
Okay, thank you.
Great question.
Anything else? If not, the time is 8:47. We're only a couple of minutes over. Great meeting. Thank you to everybody that stayed on the meeting. I'm going to encourage you all to please vote. And we will see you at the voting on tomorrow. And if I miss you, I will see you all at the June meeting. Thank you. Good night.